Hello friends, welcome back to my channel The Lens India Professional Photography and this series of Mastering Lightroom Classic CC. In this video we will be particularly understanding the process of exporting the images from Lightroom to our desktop. So once we process our images, so we may have to export these images to our hard drives. So let's quickly try to understand how can we export these images to our hard drive from the Lightroom. So one of the method what we can see here is that if we are in the library module, you will see that the export tab is available in the left hand side panel of the Lightroom. So if you click on this export, you will see that the export dialog box will pop up. So this is the one of the method what we can use to export our files, and the contents of this export functionality or the what are the different tabs what we have in this export tab. We will have a detailed look into it in a while. If we go into the develop model, you'll see that that export tab vanishes. In such scenario, it may not be possible for us to export the images. So another way what we can do is that if you go to the menu bar and if you click on the file, so we have the export options available, and you can see there are various options of export which are available. Of course, we are not going into detail of all the export options but what are given over here, but definitely some important things we will try to cover in this particular method. So one is the export. So you can see the shortcut for this is the Control-Shift-E if you are using Windows. So if you click on the export option, you will see the same window is getting popped up. If we are using the export with the previous, you will see that what are the previous options what I had used, it has directly applied those options. Then export with the presets. So you can see that what are the presets we might have designed. So it will basically show the list of the export presets which are available, and some people would like to use this export as catalogs and they want to put that those images what they have processed into the catalogs of Lightroom. So this is what is the last option of the export is there, which normally many people would like to use their images again in the catalog of the Lightroom, but I don't use this feature. So let's start quickly with the export feature. So either with this in the library model we can start with, or we can start with the option which is available in the menu. So either ways the feature process remains same. So let's start with this export methodology. So now I'll just collapse all these options which are available here, and you'll see that there are various options or tabs which are available when we are willing to export our images to the Lightroom. And on very top of it, you will see that where we want to export. So export to, so whether you want to export it to email, whether you want to export it to hard drive, CD or DVD, or Google. So you may have some more options depending on the drives which are attached to your PC. So usually the practice what I follow is to export my images to the hard drive. So by default the hard drives get selected over here. Then let's try to explore all the tabs one by one. We'll expand those tabs and we'll try to understand the features over here. So first is the export location. So this is the destination file, destination what we are going to define where we want to export our images. So if you click on the first option, that is export to, so you can have the options like specific folder, save in the same folder as original photo, choose the folder latter or useful for presets, desktop, my document folders, user folders, my video folders, or my pictures folder. So you can have the options selected over here based on what is your comfort zone. So usually I keep it to specific folder. Then once you select to the specific folder, you can define the path where you want to save your file. So if you click on this small triangle over here, so it will by default give you the options which have been recently used by the user of the Lightroom, so that you can directly select that particular path and set the destination path in this column. The another way is that you can choose the folder from here. Now just for demonstration purpose, I'll use this as a desktop and select it. So you'll see that now what are the image what we are going to export, it will be saved on the desktop. Then you have two options, put it in subfolder and add to this catalog. So again, this add to this catalog is again creating a catalog in the Lightroom. So if I click on this, put it in the subfolder, if I make it as a demo, so automatically the Lightroom will put this exported image into this demo folder, which is available, which will be created by the Lightroom in the while exporting the image. So this is what is going to be the process when we are going to export the file. Then the next is existing file. So we have various options. So Lightroom is asking what is to be done, how you want this to be exported. Ask what to do if you are exporting. So sometimes what happens that when we export the image, we may land up exporting the image, same image multiple times. So whether it asks you whether you want, if the similar number or the same number image is being exported. So it can basically choose a new name for the exported file. Suppose if you want that file to be overwritten, it will be overwritten and your old file will be gone. And or else if the Lightroom detects that the file is already exported, it will skip and it will not overwrite and it will go to the next image for the exporting. So I normally prefer to select the option what to do so that I can take a call. So particularly what happens that to elaborate this particular feature, so it may happen that I may have processed the image with the X pattern and now that was already exported onto my hard drive, and now this time I have reprocessed that image with some different style, and when I want to basically export it again, so the file may get overwritten by mistake. So that is why this feature really helps us in selecting the appropriate treatment that what we want to give it to the file when we are exporting the image. So it is always better to ask what to do so we can take a proper call when the export process is in progress. Then the next tab, if we explore, so it shows us about the file naming. So here we have the option that if you want to rename the files while exporting, you have that facility to rename the file. So if you enable this rename to file, you have various options. So custom name X of Y, custom name with the original file number, custom name sequence, custom name, so date and file name and sequence file name, and you can also create your own syntax or the format of the numbering the file. So for example, if you use custom name X of Y, so you can write for example Kiran. So it will say that this file will be exported with the name Kiran and one of one image. So if I am selecting multiple images, so it will be, for example, 10 images. So it will be 1 of 10, 2 of 10, 3 of 10. So it will be Kiran 1 of 10, Kiran 2 of 10, something that pattern will be created. If you go for the custom name and the original file number, it will take the custom text what you have entered here and the number of the file. Custom sequence, so if you have 10 files, the name and the sequence number of the file. Custom name, so it will keep on incrementing the numbers if there are multiple files. Then date and file name, so what are the date you have shot and then the file name. File name and sequence, so if there are multiple files, so it will have the file name and the sequence with the incremental way, and the file name. So what are the file name as it is, it will take it and export it. And then you have the option how you want this extension to be, in the lowercase or the uppercase. Usually I prefer to select the uppercase, but if you don't want to rename these files, just ensure that this is disabled. So this is about the file naming. Then the next is about the video. If you are exporting the videos, of course this will get enabled, but as of now, since we are only exporting the images, so this option is not enabled as of now. Then the file settings. So file settings are nothing but then the file settings are nothing but in what format we would like to export our files. So we have options like JPEG, PSD, TIFF, PNG, DNG or original. So if you are sure that you don't want to process this file further and just want to put it into a hard drive and the full processing is complete, you can opt for the option of JPEG. And you will see that once you select the option of JPEG, you will see the quality option over here, so which will determine the quality of the image. So 100 is the best quality, and the more you start reducing this number, the quality of the file will reduce. Then limit file size to. So limit file size to is that particularly many a times when we want to upload some files, so they are specifying the file size limit. So in such cases, we can use this feature. Otherwise, we can disable it. Then color space. So we have color spaces available. So there are various color space. So sRGB display P3 Adobe RGB 1998 ProPhoto RGB. So sRGB is like that these are the color profiles, and sRGB is the small gamut of RGB, whereas ProPhoto RGB is the largest amongst all what are the options we can see here. So usually most popularly used are sRGB and Adobe RGB. So the practice what I follow is that when I'm exporting it to JPEG, so I prefer to select this sRGB. But now if I want to make the prints and all those things, which usually if I am intending to do inkjet printing, so the option what I usually select is TIFF files. And when I select to TIFF files, the compression goes to none. I don't zip the files because there is a possibility that the color loss will be there. And in that case, I select this color space as the RGB 1998 Adobe RGB, and the bit depth I keep it to 16. And with this option, if I'm going to print the image with the inkjet printer, this is the option usually I select. Then you can also have the PSD options, TIFF options we have already seen, PNG, again how you want PNG, so Adobe RGB, and again the same 16-bit or 8-bit. So if you want to have the further processing on the image, so I recommend that if it is going to be printed, you select Adobe RGB and again the 16-bit, so that you maintain that all color profile, detailed color profile with the PNG files, and DNG, and the second last option is the DNG. So DNG is the option is something like it is a digital negative. So many a times, for example, when certain new cameras are launched or something like that, and if you want to transfer your raw files to someone for the editing, so it becomes difficult for some of the editors to open the raw files with the latest camera's raw version. So in that case, we can convert it into DNG. So DNG is the basically Adobe format which is created by the Adobe, which is equivalent to again the raw file, and you can convert it into DNG so that the further processing on the images can be made possible. So these are the features. Then the last is the original. So the way image it is, we can export the image in and the as it is form. So usually if the image is fully processed, no processing is to be done, and if you are going to use it for digital media or something like that, JPEG and sRGB works best. The next is image sizing. So depending on your final usage of the image, you may have to basically resize the image or redefine the dimensions of the image based on your requirement. So if you are going to, for example, use it for the social media purpose, so you can use it as a resize to fit. And for example, if you are using for the Instagram, so Instagram usually that format is the longest edge of the pixel is 1080. And if you have these drop downs, you can define by the width and height. Dimensions, you can give the pixel dimensions over here. You can define the long edge which we have just seen. Short edge we can define, or we can define it as a megapixel. So again, this feature where we have the size restrictions, we can use it. Then percentage, how much percentage we would like to shrink that image. So long edge is the option what we have seen just now. So let's keep it with the long edge, assuming that we are going to export it for the social media purpose. Then we have a don't enlarge format. So sometimes what happens that we have a small size image that is lesser than 1080. So, and if you are defining it as a 1080 pixel, so the image may get enlarged while the exporting is happening, and it may look weird. So, if you don't want to happen it accidentally, we can enable this option. Then we have the resolution, PPI. So this is different than the DPI. So don't get confused over here. So if you are exporting it for the digital media purpose, keep it 72. If you want to print it, then you just disable it and you keep it to 300 PPIs to get the high resolution prints. So this is how the setting can be done. So now, assuming that we are exporting it for the social media purpose, I am just defining it as a 72 PPI. Then the next tab is about the output sharpening. So usually I don't use this because you know that the latest cameras have a very good capability and the image looks pretty sharper, and we don't want to again sharpen the images and give it a grungy look or something like that. So still, but if you are facing such problems that the image may not appear sharp, so you can use it the sharpening feature. So how you want this image to be sharpened? If you are printing, then you can select the paper quality, either matte or glossy, as per that. If you are not printing, if it is for the screen, you can use it as a screen, and you have the quality mentioned over low, standard, and high. So if you are, so usually I disable this. I don't use this feature much, so I'm just disabling it for this demonstration purpose. So about the metadata, so metadata is something what we have already seen in the same series, and you can go through the same video if you again want to understand what are the details about the metadata. So while exporting this image, how would you like to have this metadata treatment to your image? So we have various options. So you can select copyright only. You can copyright and contact information only to be attached to the background of the image. All except camera raw information, all except camera and camera raw information, and all metadata. So the practice usually I follow is that all metadata, and if you want to remove your personal information, remove location information, you can just check mark these boxes. If you want to keep it, you can remove this check mark so that everything will get copied. Now write keyword as Lightroom hierarchy. So if you have already defined keywords for your particular image, you can enable it so that the keywords also get attached to the image. Now the next is about the watermark. Just before this exporting video, we have seen the detailed process of defining your watermarks. So what type of watermarks you would like to assign to or embed on your image. So those type of watermarks you can select and keep it select, and you can basically apply it when you are exporting this to the image. So you can see that last time we have created these two demo watermarks, and you can select. If you want, you can still edit, and it will go to the same window what we have seen last time when we were talking about the creating watermarks or defining the watermarks. So just for the demonstration purpose, I'll keep the same watermark what we have created last time. Then the last tab is the post-processing tab. So this is the tab which will give you various options. So once the export is done, what treatment you would like to give to the image? Do you want anything to be done? So if nothing is to be done, it is like do nothing. Show in the Explorer, open in the Adobe Photoshop, open in any other application, or export actions for folders now. So these are the options. So usually now, since we are not going to post process anything on this image, so we will select this, do nothing. And once all this is done, you are ready to do the export of the image. Now, one more thing, what is that if you are now sure that this is the process you are going to follow every time you export the image, you can create this as the standard process by creating the preset. So what you need to do is you just need to press the add over here, and you can say that demo. For the sake of this demonstration, I am using this demo export process, and you can keep it into the user presets and create it. So you can see that now this preset has got created, and if you use it and you just have to press export, you will see that the image is getting exported. So now if you see the desktop, you will see the demo folder over here, and if I open the demo folder and you can see the image, when I open it, you will see that the image is exported with the watermark what we have used for the demo version. So this is how the export will happen. So that's it. That's how we are going to export our image in the hard drive when our all editing is completed. So if you want to export multiple images, the process remains the same. What you can do is that you go to edit, you can select all the images and just go to the export. Now the setting remains the same. Now I'm going to use the same preset what we have created for this demonstration purpose, and if I hit the export, you'll see that now you can see that whether the image what we exported just now, it is asking whether you want to overwrite it or you want to skip it or you want to use it unique name. So we'll just overwrite it and let the export continue, and you'll see that the export is happening. And the export is now completing. Yes, now the export is completed. So now if you click on this demo folder what you have just created, you will see that all the images are now exported in this particular folder. So that's it. So this is the process how we export our images from Lightroom to our hard drives. So hope it was easy for you to understand this process, and with this we have covered the overall process of editing our images in Lightroom, right from the importing of the Lightroom to the exporting of the images into the from the Lightroom to our hard drive. So by this end of this video, we have already covered the library module. We have covered the whole process what we have seen when we were working with the develop module. And as far as the editing process is concerned, so the whole process is now completed. Now in our future videos, I'll be coming up with the map module, book module and slideshow module. So the rest of the modules, print module or the web module, so we will not cover in this particular series because we hardly use these features in the Lightroom. So we will be excluding about these two particular tabs, but definitely we will use learn about map module, book module and slideshows. So that's it for the this particular video. So stay tuned for our further videos on the other modules which are remaining. So thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have not subscribed this channel, so I request you to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that you will get the updates when the new video is uploaded. So thanks once again and bye for now.